Senate Agriculture Committee holding a hearing on Thursday focusing on perspectives on U.S. ag trade. Chairman of the committee from Kansas, Pat Roberts, telling the witnesses that concern is increasing among farmers, ranchers, and agribusiness regarding President Trump's decision to start a trade war with China. Chief Ag Trade Negotiator Greg Dowd testified that the administration is pushing for the largest agricultural disputes in history against China for its market price support policies and unfair administration of TRQs. Those are tariff rate quotas. He said they've presented a strong case that China should be held accountable to the same rules as other WTO members. And on that basis, they estimate China has exceeded its levels of domestic support for rice, wheat, and corn by $100 billion. They also estimate that had China administered its TRQs, they would have imported billions more in rice, wheat, and corn from all sources. Both of the disputes are about China's failure to follow basic WTO rules. And in response to those tariffs on Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue directing USDA to provide relief to farmers and ranchers directly affected by the trade war. So Chief Economist at USDA, Dr. Rob Johansson, developed an estimate of gross trade damages for commodities that were part of the retaliatory tariffs by Canada, China, European Union, Mexico, and Turkey. Damage assessments were used to set commodity payment rates and purchase levels in the trade mitigation package announced earlier this month. There were big dollar amounts for soybeans, moderate amounts for sorghum and cotton, and only a penny per bushel for corn. And with that, Perdue, acting in response to numerous farm group questions and upset farmers regarding the payment rates, he released a detailed accounting of how USDA calculated the damage from the trade disruptions. That's online at farmers.gov. Well, a federal district court judge has temporarily blocked enforcement of the controversial Waters of the U.S. rule, or WOTUS. That happened in 3 states on Thursday. Landowners in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi now exempt from the EPA rule, which broadened the definition of bodies of water to include streams, wetlands, and adjacent water. It greatly expanded the reach of the Clean Water Act, not what Congress had in mind at all. And actually, for landowners, it's very concerning because it could affect ditches and small ponds or puddles of water as well. Finally, reports from the Federal Reserve districts suggest that the economy expanded at a moderate pace through the end of August. Now, the Dallas Fed reported relatively brisk growth, while Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Kansas City indicating somewhat below average growth. Lending activity grew throughout the nation. Some districts noted weakness in agricultural conditions, but businesses generally remained optimistic about the near-term outlook, though most districts noted concern and uncertainty about trade tensions. Now, when you really zero in on that Dallas district, a lack of soil moisture continued to dampen the ag conditions across the state, with more than half of Texas experiencing drought. So the corn and soybean crops generally in fair to good condition, while pastures and cotton and sorghum crops mostly in fair to poor condition. Texas crop production this year expected to be down. Again, highlights from the Federal Reserve's Beige Book. And with another Ag News update, I'm Tony St. James.